obviously the term is completely butchered today, and people think of capitalism as just being bad. But
Mhm.
really, what it means is that you're part of a social order, an extended order of production, in which strangers have to cooperate, in which people who don't know each other trade with one another and essentially build this production structure together. So think about, the things that you buy and things that you consume on any given day. Think about just, looking at you right now. Think about all the things that you have in your just in the screen behind you, all the books behind you, that block clock that you have, the
Mhm.
beautiful flowers behind you. You didn't build any of that stuff, as far as I know. I don't think you grew the
No.
flowers. You didn't print the books. You didn't write the books. Millions of people all over the world had to collaborate together to
Yeah.
write those books, to print those books, to distribute them, to ship them, to put them on trucks, to deliver them to the bookshop from which you bought them. And none of those people, well, the vast majority of those people don't know each other. And yet this process takes place, not because all of those people wake up every morning and think, how do we serve Natalie? That's not
Right.
really the motivation. Every one of those people is out there trying to look out for himself.
Yes.
The people writing the books, growing the flowers, all of those things are being produced by people that are trying to do the best for themselves. And the reason you choose to go out there and engage in the production of something so sophisticated that then ends up in Natalie's office is because it's enormously more productive than trying to produce everything for yourself. That's really the key thing. And that's ultimately what is the driver for human civilization, I argue in this book, in that we can, a lot of people think, well, capitalism is just, it's a quaint idea. It's silly. Society is about the strong. Humanity is always a place where the strong takes what the weak has, and conflict is eternal. And that's idiotic nonsense, because no, the strongest monster, the strongest animal, the strongest human is completely powerless compared to any human being who's able to tap into the real human superpower that we have, which is capitalist civilization. So the strongest man alive, the most vicious fighter who would have no problem with killing 100 people with his bare hands, is completely powerless next to a 10-year-old girl that has access to a gun because she's part of the division of labor. She has one tiny little gun. She pulls the trigger. She shoots him. He's dead. So what the superpower that we have as humanity is our ability to collaborate and cooperate and be part of this capitalist civilization, which allows us to produce output that is infinitely more valuable and infinitely more useful to us than anything that we could do on our own. So no person on their own could ever have the kind of quality of life that they would have if they are part of this global division of labor. They're part of the capitalist system where everybody accumulates capital, everybody trades, everybody specializes, and that increases our productivity enormously. And so the only way to be part of that is to deal with others in a civilized manner. So you respect others, you respect their property, you respect their right to own property, and you respect their right to only trade with you according to their acceptance of the terms, mutual acceptance of terms. So free exchange that is mutually beneficial to both. If you're able to accept that, if you're able to tame that animal inside you that just wants to take other people's stuff and do whatever animalistic urges you get,
Yeah.
if you're able to tame that, you become a civilized human being because you're able to cooperate with others. And in that kind of setting, everything that you want is on the other side of serving others. Everything that you want, whatever it is that you want, you can try and do it on your own. You can try and build it on your own. You can try and steal it. You can try and murder others to take their stuff. You're not going to get anywhere near getting what you want in that, using that method, compared to what you could get if you just trade with people like a civilized human being. And so the smartest way for you to secure the things that you want is for you to cooperate with others, and for you to wake up every morning and think about, how do I give other people things that are valuable for them? Because in a capitalist economy, what is most valuable for you is not the thing that you should be working on. The things that I want in life are not the things that I spend all my day working on. Yeah, I have a few copies of my book, as you can see behind me. But, I spend my time writing those books, not so that I could have those copies. I spend my time so that I could sell them, so that people can buy them. And then from the money that I make from selling those books, I buy the things that I want. And so the more that I'm able to serve people by giving them things that they want, the more I am able to get the things that I want. And that's really the driver for people to be civilized. That's the driver for people to be part of human society. And, after in the book, I can't summarize the whole book, but if you've read it, I'm sure you've seen, how I explain how the capitalist system develops and how it comes about, and then why the capitalist system relies on human beings accepting the system of property rights, accepting the system of capitalism, accepting the idea that other people need to have their own property, and that if we don't accept those things, then we can't have nice things. And I think the dangerous thing about what is happening in the world right now, there's that strong bias that we want to think that today is always better than yesterday, and things keep getting better. And in a sense, they are. Technologically, we're constantly improving. Today's computers are faster than last year's computer. The cars are getting better. Well, the airplanes is a complicated one. Maybe they're not. But I think there is a significant case to be made that things are getting worse, in the sense that the capitalist civilization is breaking apart because the money is broken, because the money is the glue that holds this entire system together. It's the critical component that allows for that cooperation to happen, because none of this division of labor, none of this cooperation between us as individuals would be possible if we didn't have money. I would not be able to trade. I'd not be able to specialize in something as arcane as writing books about economics and shipping them all over the world to people if we could not trade in money. If we had to trade directly, if I had to write books and then find somebody who grows cows so that he could give me beef in exchange for my books, it's not going to work. I'd have to just go back to a system wherein I need to grow my own cows. And a lot of people romanticize this. I think also among Bitcoiners, we see a lot of this kind of, when Bitcoin goes to the moon, I'm just going to start growing my own food and I want to get off the grid. And I think, you have to be extremely rich to be able to afford to live this kind of simplistic fantasy of I'm just going to live off the land on my own, because you can't do it on your own. And the quality of life that you'd have on your own, if you try to live truly on your own, is, you probably wouldn't make it. The vast majority of us wouldn't make it for a year if we tried to live off the land. Sure. What we do is, if we do become extremely rich, we would be able to buy a lot of equipment and a lot of machines from this global division of labor. We'll buy engines and we'll buy farming equipment and we'll buy all of those things from the division of labor, and then we'll be able to live in a world where we grow our own food. So we essentially we're letting global capitalism do 99% of the job, and then we're turning up at the finish line and taking all the credit and saying, I grew my own food and I'm self-reliant and I'm independent. But you're not. You go out into the jungle and spend a year and see how far you get on your own if you really want to be independent. So I think it's the really dangerous thing about the world we're living in is that the breakdown of money, because of this massive dysfunction of the fiat monetary system, is threatening the fabric of human civilization, because it's making cooperation between human beings harder, it's making trade between human beings harder, and it's destroying our ability to save, and it's destroying our ability to provide for the future. But I think, just to kind of spoil the ending of the book, I think it's humans have always faced threats, and as I was mentioning earlier, brutish people will always think, well, let me just attack the people who have nice things and I'll take their nice things. But we've always found ways around that. We've always found ways to tame animals, to tame violent human beings, because when we cooperate, when we use our reason and cooperate together, we develop massively more productive technologies. And so I think, just like we've conquered nature in many ways, we've conquered animals, and we've conquered barbarian human beings who don't believe in those things, I believe we'll conquer the current brand of barbarians that threaten us, which is essentially central banking. And I believe the way that we will conquer it is through the inventions of reason, which is Bitcoin.